Now, going over to the cultural part of the podcast, you have Disney star of Snow White, Rachel Zegler, hopes that Trump supporters and Trump himself are harmed, which, in terms of accolades, she is perhaps best known for being insufferable. Like, she is the best at that. I mean, most famously, she's the star of the new Snow White remake, and she completely spat on the original intellectual property, hating the whole premise of the story, and she called the whole idea, and again, her I can't say it as terribly as she did in terms of vernacular accent, but I'll attempt when she said, "Well, it's weird, weird," and she had that weird, she said that weird. She said the word weird while bobbing her head in the weirdest of fashions. I barely scraped the surface while attempting that impression of her. But let's go ahead and see what specifically she has to say. Now, this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness on the good old X, or as five people probably still call it, Twitter, or if you're British, Twitter, partially digress, where he says, quote, Disney Snow White Rachel Zegler says she hopes to harm befalls Trump and his followers or his voters. Which another hilarious premise of the new Snow White remake, which was so bad I don't think they even released it yet. It's all about the story is about her being jealous, or the stepmother being jealous of her looks, and in the remake, spoiler alert, the queen or the evil stepmom is infinitely more attractive than her. Yes, I know the bar's quite low with Rachel Zegler, but still, kind of puts a whole kibosh on the whole idea of the story. But I partially digress. And oh, I'm sorry, I accidentally made the picture of her larger, so it's taking up a large part of the screen. Oh, yeah, that's it's not a pretty sight. It is a sight, and I apologize. I should put a visual disclaimer on the screen before I showed her face. I apologize. That was my mistake. But we'll go ahead now. We don't want to see that. We'll go to the text, which unfortunately is too small actually for you to see on your screen. But I'll go ahead now read her post. This was on her. What is this? This is on the Facebook, their Instagram, one of the social media websites. Where let's see. She says, "quote I find myself speechless," which I mean that would be really great if she was actually speechless because she's so insufferable. I don't think anyone really wants to hear what she has to say. But partially digress. She claims to be speechless. So she says, quote, I find myself speechless in the midst of all this. Another 4 years of hatred, leading us towards a world I do not want to live in. Leading us towards a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in. Leading us towards a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want. Leading us towards a world that is fearful. Again, shows how mentally vacuous leftists are. Again, if you want to have abortion up to the day of, they have it. It's called Minnesota and other states. For the umpteenth time, it's a states' rights issue, and yet they lied about the recent presidential election, saying you got to go out and vote because your ability to do that depends on it. Nope, it's a states' rights issue. So depending on where she lives, that's a really weird thing to wish your daughter, but you want that to happen. Again, depending on where you live, that's perfectly conceivable, and culturally speaking, in California and Minnesota, perfectly acceptable, if not applauded, where I find it viscerally disgusting. There are people who actually go online and brag about their abortions, which also shows the cultural decline in the United States. It used to be the Democrats and leftists said, it's supposed to be safe, legal, and rare. Everyone agreed it was a bad thing, and yet now it's something they actually give accolades to. They actually have an abortion mobile outside the Democratic convention a couple months ago. I partially digress. We'll get back to her attempting to speak. Well, not logically, but her speech nevertheless. She continued saying, quote, I shouldn't have been this shocked, but I am. I am heartbroken for my friend who woke fear this morning, and I'm here with you to cry, to yell, to hug, to wax poetic on how the left continues to fail us in forging our new path forward. This loss should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. But it was! And in terms of the ineptitudes of Democrats, they didn't let the Democrat people vote for someone. They didn't actually have a convention. They actually just shoved in, they really just usurped what the people wanted. I had friends who wanted to vote for Biden, and yet they just wheeled him out and put Kamala in. And yes, she lost every single swing state, which is actually impressive from a ineptitudes perspective. I mean, to be that bad at your job is almost, it's a kind of impressive thing. Fascinatingly enough, of the states that she won, most of the 13 of the 15 did not require any form of ID. Sure, that's coincidence though. I'm sorry, I know Rachel Zegler is insufferable, even just through text, but it's almost done. She ends saying, quote, I echo Ethel Kane's statement more than anything. Many Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace. More from the tolerant left. not so much. But she, well, rather, and wokeness, it did go pretty viral. It got 757,000 views as well as 13,000 likes. And I'm sorry, we see her face again. Ooh, yeah, it's a sight, which again is also hilarious. The whole point of Snow White was she was the attractive one, and they also just throw out the whole premise of the story, I suppose. But it also got 13,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from Sassafras84 saying, quote, she was the hatred she speaks of, getting 937 likes. AKA simply says, what a lunatic, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Fact check true. What is this? Liz Churchill says LOL and says Rachel Zegler, I don't know what her pronouns. She says she, her, and then she has another one. Gotta collect them all, like Pokemon. I know it's Pokemon, but it's kind of funny. That's what my dad used to call it. And it looks like Rachel Zegler blocked her on social media, which, yeah, it's a sure sign of you can't defend your ideals, just block or disable comments. Which, again, many comments on my videos aren't complimentary, though they are constructive criticism, so appreciate them nevertheless. But yeah, I'll never disable my comments. Ironically, one of the few times my YouTube comments were disabled was when YouTube overrode me when I had a video talking about censorship and one talking about Bud Light censoring comments on social media. So it's interestingly ironic that they overrode my preferences and my settings, but I partially digress. You also have Will, Bill, and C saying, quote, this miserable, well, cover your ears if you have children listening, but his exact vernacular is, quote, this miserable bitch is a perfect example of why the left lost in a landslide, getting 3.6 thousand likes, which, yeah, fact check true. I forget what cartoon this is, but Fight with Memes, A+, they did in fact respond in a meme form, says, okay, and it's the picture of a kid that holds a piece of paper, and the piece of paper is relabeled Hollywood Opinions, says, whoa, and he looks up and goes, this is worthless. Got 2.1 thousand likes, which culturally speaking, yeah, I think celebrities are losing their shine and people are taking them less and less seriously, and yeah, I think celebrity endorsements are losing their efficiencies, both on the left and the right, but especially the traditional legacy Hollywood media on the left. You also have Liberty Pill Memes, A+. They did in fact respond in meme form. I'm a May, if you want to sound fancy, say, quote, describe Disney in a couple of words. There's a very attractive woman called Star Wars. And on the right is Dylan Mulvaney, dressed as a woman, says Disney Star Wars, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Yep, Kathleen Kennedy somehow still has a job, which also highlights the ineptitude of Disney, which her whole methodology with South Park perfectly, nail on hammer, hit it perfectly, is put a chick in it and make it gay, which, again, that seems to be the methodology for most Disney films. Perhaps why they're losing billions of dollars, yet they still forge ahead doing the same methodology. It's almost as if they don't know the definition of insanity. Going down to other top comments, you have Fight with Memes says she's replaceable, and there's a poll. It says, who should play Snow White? And the options were Gal Gadot, Anne d'Arm, Rachel Zegler, and Terry Crews. And 93% of the votes said Terry Crews, 1% Rachel, 2% Anna d'Arm, which I don't know if this is false advertising. I'm pretty sure she has arms, so good marketing. Then Gal Gadot got 3%. The whole meme got 1,000 likes. Liberty Pill Memes also says I had the perfect shirt for her, and someone has a shirt that says Disney Star Wars, and someone is talking to him saying, quote, I like your gay pride shirt. Getting 542 likes, which, yeah, they also not only encourage a man to dress as a woman and selling dresses and measuring dresses for young girls at Disneyland, or is it Disney World? Probably the one in California. As if we needed another reason not to go to one of their theme parks and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, wouldn't go there. Couldn't pay me to go there. Elon Musk says she sounds mean, getting 3.2 thousand likes. Is it really Elon? It is. There you go. Is there any contrarian statements here? Not seeing too many. And again, apparently, like, they had private viewing stuff because, again, they finished the movie. They haven't released it. They got a lot of pushback from, they were going to have, midgets or little people or dwarves, like the traditional one, which is good for those people because, again, it's a great acting opportunity. Again, a Disney film, that little POS Peter Dinklage, best known for being short and insufferable. Well, he goes, oh yeah, it shouldn't be for little people. You should have all different types. It's stereotypical if you have them do it, even though he built his career on it. So yet another example of Hollywood elitism, building his career and then pulling up the small ladder behind him, the very small ladder behind him. And again, when it comes to Disney, they actually recast it so it's a diverse group of people playing the dwarves instead of actual dwarves. And the online uproar was so bad, the pushback was so massive, it caused yet another delay of the movie. I really don't think they'll make a profit on the movie if they ever do release it. Again, they keep having to make changes, and the main actress doesn't even like the idea or concept of the film, and she is so bad at PR. Every time she gets in front of the camera, She craps on the original intellectual property, which built Disney into what they are today, and laid the foundation. And she just really just hates the whole. She hates the intellectual property of the original idea, and as well as the original idea of having she says a man coming to save her. So let me know in the comments. Do you think Disney will ever release this film? And do you think will they ever actually make a profit on it? I have no idea how Rachel Zegler still does a job that's beyond me. But let me know in the comments because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down or comment. It's a great way to give me a little bit of additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.